Hey guys, Chrono, and today I'm bringing to you a Cure Mermaid deck. And I'm sure you're thinking, really? Cure Mermaid? Well, the reason I decided to build this deck, and as you can see, it's made of very common, cheap cards, is because a student in my class is very obsessed with water monsters. She really enjoys those, really enjoys cards that are centered around that because that's one of her main hobbies that she likes is things outside of Yu-Gi-Oh are centered around this. And so I thought to myself, can I make a deck that focuses on water-based themes? Because if you've been following my channel, you know that's something that I've always chose to enjoy is a water deck from my roots when I started Yu-Gi-Oh. And I thought I'm going to try the challenge. So literally, the deck that you're seeing in front of you on the screen is exactly what this girl's deck is made of. And I wanted to test it and see, can this actually compete? Obviously, there's a lot of burn cards, and that was my original strategy with the Cure Mermaid. I'm going to build up my life points, stall basically, get the burn cards that I need, and then go ahead and attack my opponent. Now, when I originally did this, I had the Fire Princess, but that did not work with me. It was too hard to search for both. And what I did like about this deck is I can search out the Fire Princess in many different ways. And if it's in the grave, I even have ways to get it back. And again, all the cards you see here on the screen, they're literally 10 cents or less. That's what I've paid for them. Sometimes even a penny. Because when I make these decks for my students, that's what I'm going for. So please take that with a grain of salt as you look at this, when you look at how I end up doing with this deck. Now, getting into the first match, I thought, ooh, okay, Time Lords. That should be interesting. I do love that Synchro card, because just to bring it back, all you got to do is banish a water card from the graveyard. And again, this is a common that cost me like 2 cents. But as you can see, I'm building the board. I'm also using Claudron of the Old Man. It's a great card. Gets that slow burn in that's happening. Now, he does banish the level 1 time card there, and it's very effective because it brings out any Time Lord. Maiden does. And this is a solid card he brings out, so I activate the red screen immediately, hoping, okay, he can't attack. But then he does the Harpy's Feather Duster, and I'm actually excited about this because Secret Blast is awesome to chain here. So I chain everything. Secret Barrel, Secret Blast. They all do 1200, except when Secret Blast is destroyed, you get the bonus effect in this situation where you get to go ahead and deal an extra 1,000. And so right away, that was a huge amount of burn that I inflicted to my opponent. And I'm thinking, well, I'm actually in good shape here. I thought that was strange for my opponent to play Swords of Concealing Light there, just because he's got to flip my monster anyways. Obviously, I take the burn, but I'm not too worried about it. I've got the Cure Mermaid, after all, somewhere in there. But at this point in this part of the duel, I did not necessarily need it. But again, there were times that it was more used for like synchro plays than it was anything else. And so it's in there, but I really wanted to see, okay, can I get the effect off? Okay, so I won my first match without really using the effect very much. Will I be able to use the effect? So I'm going against this Egyptian god deck, and it's not going very well. I mean, things are just not happening the way I want them to. And so notice I'm down to 100, right? And so I'm looking at this, and then he brings out the Ra's Disciples, and I'm like, oh no. And then he doesn't even leave my Cure Mermaid on the field. No, he's got to bring out the big Ra card, right? And then pays the all the way down to 100. Boy, did I wish I had Poison of the Old Man here. Love that animation. But I was like, oh, if only I had that burn card, because I do play it in this deck. That would have been pretty sweet. So up to that battle, I actually was 3-1, and then I run into this guy 3 times in a row, and I'm thinking, okay, now I'm going to be at a losing record, but I still wanted to keep going. I didn't want to just surrender right away. I really like seeing how, different builds would do, and at first I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm in good shape here. I'm attacking into everything. Notice the Baguska, I really like that. It puts in a lot of work in this deck. because I got to have ways to stall if I'm going to have any chance with the Cure Mermaid. I mean, it's the Cure Mermaid. I know, right? Like, what are the odds that I'm going to build a deck that focuses on this? There's the Winged Dragon of Ra again. And I'm thinking, oh no, don't do it to me again. Don't do it to me again. Yeah, he did it to me again. So this time, though, he leaves out the Cure Mermaid, which I thought was really funny. And then, of course, powers it up, and there he goes. Oh, gosh, you know. So at this point, I went from 3-2, now it's 3-3, and then I'm going against him again. I'm like, oh, man. And I think he must have looked at my deck because he very wisely decides not to do things where he powers up his raw card like he did before. Now, at first I'm thinking, great, I can use the Grizzly Monster here. I've got 2 Cure Mermaids on the field. I have the Messenger of Peace. I'm going to gain all this life points. Oh, no. He's Sphere mode on me. I was so angry. I was like, oh, come on. I just wanted to have the Cure Mermaid out there. See the double effect go off. No. It's the same problem all over again. And, of course, he goes in. I was really hoping I could use my magic cylinder here. But it doesn't allow me to get into him. And so, there it is. That's all she wrote. And so I thought, oh, man, now I'm 3-4. And the first decks I played weren't awful decks, you know what I mean? I mean, they're not high top tier decks. But I'm thinking for kid decks, which I make for typically under $4, all the decks that I make, that's typically my cost is around there in order for them to have some teeth to them. And so when I saw this deck, I'm like, oh, I should do very well here. This should give me some pretty good options. And then I see, oh, he's definitely on a definite burn strategy. And I know I could go with this deck, but I don't have these cards. It'd be nice if I did, but I'm trying to go with the cards that I know that I readily have available, that I'm not searching through crazy bulk, if that makes sense. So I start with Burning Land. Love that card. You have to make sure you activate that field spell after. But notice, I try and get the Cure Mermaid out. What happens? Ring of Destruction. I'm like, really? Come on. I just want the Cure Mermaid out on the field. So I do get it out there with my Buzzsaw Shark. That card searches it, which is really nice. So I'm feeling pretty good here because then I'm able to get out another one. I did think about attacking here, but every time I special, I have to send cards to the grave. And I thought, ooh, what if he's got a pretty crazy burn card and then gets me for the game? So I thought, I better just play this a little cautious. So goes ahead and brings out the Continuous Trap here. It's so good, just because that would also be some extra burn that I would end up taking. And then he uses this card. I'm like, what is this card? I don't know if I've ever seen this before. So I'm looking at the card, reading through, and I decided I better start chaining some stuff once I started reading through it. Because I thought I was going to take an insane amount of burn as I was looking at the card. I'm like, oh, shoot. Slash draw can be a real problem here if I'm not respecting this. So I thought I got to get some burn in while I can. But it actually ends up hurting him big time. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm in good shape here. Burning Land's going to take him out in the next turn. I should be good. There it is. I got the effect off, everybody. Yeah. Then he surrenders. So I did bring out the Cure Mermaid a lot, but that's the first duel where I felt like I really got to use it the way that I wanted to. So notice this time, I'm facing a deck. I used the Baguska, which really slowed down everything. Turned it to an attack position, and then I was ready to go. I've got the Cure Mermaid out. I'm getting the burn in on my opponent. I'm like, yeah, this is going well. Attack with the Baguska because it's 21. And then I end up going for game here. Had the Cure Mermaid ready to go. I'm like, yes. Okay, I'm back on a win streak. With all things a Cure Mermaid deck. A deck that probably in real life costs less than... oh, who knows? Probably like less than $3. I mean, it's a really cheap deck. Now, this time I'm going against the Blue Eyes. Notice the Cure Mermaid's out. I've got my swords out. I'm very excited about this. Look at this. This is beautiful. I get the Messenger of Peace. Again, this deck was so nostalgic for me to use because it just brought me back to when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh to begin with. Because when I started in 2014, obviously there were faster decks, but this used to frustrate the heck out of people when I played strategies like this. But I didn't know what else to do, because I felt like every time I was attacking, I'd run into a mirror force or something like that, where my opponent always had an out. So my default idea was, well, maybe I just don't attack. There's got to be a strategy with this game that maybe I could do something like that. Obviously, you're seeing the effect going off. I'm feeling pretty good about that, honestly, people. I'm like, yes, I'm making this happen. Notice I'm still continuing with those water-themed cards. Go ahead and detach to them. I'm going to suck up that blue eyes just because I can. I feel good about that. I know it's terrible, right? So I'm like, okay, not too bad so far here. I like where I'm at. I'm like, ooh, that's a good burn card. Now, again, I just can't keep this on the field. Everyone goes after the Cure Mermaid. You know, there it goes. I'm like, darn it. I didn't want to see that happen right now. So finally, he goes ahead and uses the stamping card there, stomping card for dragon monsters. You inflict 500 burn. So I decided, you know what? Let's just create a crazy chain. You know, see how big we can get this. And then just to activate the red screen, I do it. And then, yeah, that's right. And I think when I calculated this, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is exact game. So there's the 800, there's the 16, and then there's the 12. I was like, yeah. So the Cure Mermaid, you know, coming into effect. I'm like, all right, you know, this is going pretty well. And there's other duels that I have that I didn't show that, you know, they just weren't as interesting. Some people got really frustrated and just surrendered because they were seeing the effect. But this is how I know when I'm facing a good deck, is if I see someone respond right away to the Buzzsaw Shark. They didn't here, so I got out my Cure Mermaid right away, really trying to stick with it. No, it doesn't stay around. Of course, there's a Regeki, right? You know, and so I take it out. I'm like, dang it. Come on, people. But he uses Pot of Duality, and then when I see what he's got there, I'm like, oh, well, he used Pot of Duality, so he can't special summon this turn. So that's actually a really good thing for me. Uses Pathfinder, that's fine. He's going to add Numeron Network to his hand. You know, that again, I'm completely safe because he can't special summon. So he goes ahead and activates the card, and I'm thinking, that's really interesting. I'm like, ooh, that is right on time. So I go ahead and use the Monster Reborn, targeting the Buzzsaw Shark. It's such a good card because it searches the Cure Mermaid. I can target itself. It brings out a level 4 fish. Okay, I do try to get some battle damage in here. That doesn't work. I overlay here because I'm thinking, well, I can't leave that out on the field. I did think about it because I did have a magic cylinder set, but I thought, I think it'd be better if I just take this off the field. So I go ahead and I shuffle that back in because I'm not sure how much draw power he has if he's using a Pot of Duality. So then a Dark Hole. You know, and this deck does that. My own deck that I play does the same thing. Lots of ways to get rid of things. I do go ahead and use the magic cylinder here. And I thought, oh, this really shows this guy's inexperience if he's trying an MST. Do you remember those people who used to do that? I used to do that thinking, oh, well, I got rid of the card. The chain resolves backwards, so this doesn't go through, right? No. It still goes through. Oh, those old days of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, just thinking about that. And then I go ahead and normal, use the effect, and there it is. There's the surrender, because I think he was down to resources. So I was on a big win streak here. But of course, I'm going to run into really good decks, right? And that's exactly what happens here when I start running into the Ice Jade stuff. And I thought, okay, well, let's see if I can navigate my way through this. Because I really did stay in the duels. The only time I would surrender is if I was positive that I was going to lose the duel. There was absolutely no way for me to have any hope whatsoever. And everything's working perfectly here for my opponent. And I have no interruptions, right? This is a $3 deck for kids. How am I supposed to have interruptions, right? So he brings out the powerful monster. And I'm thinking, okay, now what can I do to get past this? And I'm looking at my hand. I'm thinking, well, maybe I have some options here. And then I see the Maxi, and I'm like, dang it. Because against this, that's not going to work. I have no shot against this. That's just not going to work. I had the Baguska. Yeah, I mean, there was no hope. So here's an example. I just wanted to get the burn and then surrendered. That's right. Take that with your top tier deck. No. Now, that wasn't a top tier. I would say Ice Jade is more a rogue strategy, obviously. But what I run into here is without a doubt a top tier deck. I know it right away as soon as I see everything happening, which you're going to see here shortly. So right away I see that. And this player's use of the Sengen, oh my goodness. It was amazing. I was very impressed with this person was able to do, constantly getting resources from deck to the hand. And I thought, man, this guy's build is legit. I kept looking at this going, I think this would be a fun one for me to actually try out because of just how solid he was always getting resources back, which I think is just so important. Now, that would not be the strongest play just to have one card there, but against my deck, it's pretty strong. So, as you can see, my hand is not the best. I do try to see if he'll let that go through, trying to see if I can get the Cure Mermaid out. Obviously, that's not going to work. He chains here, taking care of my Buzzsaw Shark pretty easily. And this was what was super impressive, is the way he could so easily get out the Baron. And I thought, okay, that's the duel. Like, I'm not going to have a chance here to probably take this thing out the way that I want to. I have gotten some burn damage in, but notice again, so there's the Sangan again. And then he goes ahead and goes for the play that he's going to do fusion-wise. But again, because it hit the grave, he's getting resources back, which I just thought was super effective. I just love the way this guy ended up playing things. I thought it was very interesting going for a Ghost Ogre there. And then he does go to attack. I try to do the Magic Cylinder. Obviously, that's not going to work, right? It's like he stops it. The attack is going to go through, which I was pretty bummed over. But again, I knew what I was getting into when I was trying this. I thought I'm probably going to take a lot of losses trying this deck out. Now notice he taps out again. And this is what's so amazing to me. So he brings out his card. He had a constant way to recycle, which I thought was very effective. I thought, man, people need to use this strategy. Now, I did think I might be in okay shape here because I didn't know how quickly he'd recycle his Baron. Oh, no. He did that very quickly. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to have a shot against that. And then he goes and he attacks it. And I'm thinking, you know what? Pretty solid deck there. I enjoyed it. I'm just happy I got him close to half. That wasn't too bad with what I was trying to play. Now this one was really interesting. I was shocked how well I was able to make some of this work as we were in this duel. And I just thought the red screen, man, it put in some serious work. So I go ahead and I try and get into my Xyz card here, going for the number 41. And I'm thinking, this might buy me some time if I play this right. And I was like, yes, I can finally activate. Because number 38 is such a problem card. I faced quite a few decks with this, and the Baguska was my answer. So I could get out the Quadrant of the Old Man and play some of my other stuff too. Notice I've had to spend a lot of life points just to stay alive. But look at this man's field. I mean, it is massive what this field looks like. So he goes with the called by, and I figure, well, this is a good time to chain. This is some pretty decent damage. He's got quite a bit of cards on the field, and I'm thinking, this will significantly start to lower him. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I'm thinking I've got some other options too, so I think I'm in okay shape here. He gets rid of the number 38, which I was very excited about, because my Baguska didn't have a lot of time left. And I'm thinking, okay, this is good for me. He got rid of it. He must have been getting impatient. And so I'm like, that works for me. Goes ahead and brings out this card. Now, I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, that I'm playing Burn. I can't believe you just activated that. Because I'm like, oh, I know I've got it here now. I've got the secret barrel. And I'm like, yeah. So I I absolutely stole that game from that player using this ridiculous Cure Mermaid fish deck. But I ended up going positive overall. I mean, I still can't believe that. I went 10 out of 16 playing this deck when I was trying it a different one. So there's the Time Lords deck that I went against. Again, a really solid card. And then, I don't know, I guess what's amazing to me is looking at this deck. I can't believe some of the decks I was able to win against it because they just didn't have an out. Or if they did have the out, they realized it too late, or I was able to work around it with the Baguska. It just made me chuckle what I was able to do against certain decks. I thought, oh my goodness. Because some of these, they're legit decks, right? You know, like the Blackwing deck, you know, that's definitely something that's going to put in major work. But then there's other decks on here that obviously, you know, I'm not going to be as effective against. You know, like a Dark Magician deck, nah, that's not going to work very well because Dark Magic Circle or Magical Circle, it's going to remove everything. And then you saw this train wreck. This was a bad one. Yeah, the Egyptian deck. No shot. Absolutely no shot whatsoever. It's like, this is not working. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, as you can see all the different decks that I got to face with it and, you know, lots of different strategies. But I really enjoyed this challenge because, again, it took me back thinking about my Yu-Gi-Oh! Roots. Oh, this was no chance. I had absolutely no shot against the Evil Twins. No chance. Not a single hope of ever beating that deck. But I enjoyed this challenge so much that I thought, man, it'd be kind of neat if I started something where you guys give me a card, and what if I were to make a deck around it? And a cheap deck, you know, not something, you know, fantastic. And I don't want something top tier. You know, that's too easy if it's a top tier card to build something around it. I want it to be something that I can have a challenge with, like the Cure Mermaid. Like, who's gonna build a deck around that, right? So just something to be thinking about, you know, going forward. That if you guys enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed seeing a deck that, you know, the whole goal was to get out the Cure Mermaid and to somehow gain life points, you know, use that as an advantage, or have that be like a central card in the deck. You know, if you like to see that and you'd like to see me try that with other builds, I would be all for that. I would love to do that. And I really look forward to the different types of things that, you know, you guys might be thinking of. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. We'd also love to have you guys be subscribers to the channel. And yeah, thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah! Wait for your next challenge. I know that you'll be back.